media, it is easier to put on that Yahoo News feed, millennials are screwed. They can't buy a house. There's no way, rather than, hey, millennials can buy a house. Here's how.
I am the millennial. I am like the target demographic of like who's facing the real challenges. And I can personally tell you firsthand, like it's possible. This isn't for just the real estate market. It's for the people who are listening who like want to buy a house or want to sell their house or don't think they can buy a house.
I did research on this. I can't find anybody who's actually specifically talking about this problem. And it is a problem. Well, there's going to be over 4.5 million home sales in this country this year. There are tons of people out there who are doing this that we're going to talk about on this podcast, which is...
Cut the bullshit.
Welcome to MillenniUP.
Welcome to MillenniUP. Our first episode. We're doing the thing.
Our maiden voyage.
We got microphones. We're making a podcast.
That's right. Two realtors got a couple microphones and decided to make a podcast. That's been our slogan for the last 4 weeks.
It's been our basis of, so what are we doing? We're making a podcast.
We're making a podcast. No, I mean, it's, I'm excited for this project. I think it's going to be great. And I think we should just use this time while people are tuning in for the first time to talk about who we are, what we're doing, why we're doing this. You agree?
Yeah. And probably talk about why this differs from any other source of information that they're getting.
You don't want to talk about Jalen Hurts, right? Or the Eagles?
First of all, I will be talking about them all the live long day otherwise, but I don't want to talk about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Oh my God, I'm over it. I'll talk about friggin' the Eagles Swift and the Eagles Kelce. Anyway, that's not what this is about. Okay, so, but yeah, I think this is going to be pretty valuable, fun information for everyone to tune in and listen to. Chances are, if you're listening, you already know us. So,
yeah, at this age, if you're listening to this, you probably do know who we are. But I would say, what do you want to go over first? You want to go over why we're doing this, who we are? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I think we should start with who we are.
Okay.
And then we'll next go into why we are doing this, answer some of the questions we've gotten leading up to this.
Okay.
And then really hone in on kind of what information's out there and why it's not beneficial to people and what we're going to do about it. So,
okay.
Who are you, Seth? Tell us.
Well,
who is Seth Lejeune?
It's the Clover Day sale in 1979. Now, and just for the record, if anyone's doing the math, I am technically 56 days older, or I am as young of a Gen Xer as you can get, but I still deal with almost all millennials in my real estate business.
But we need that take. We gotta hear the Gen Xer side every now and then. But don't worry, I got enough opinions and personality for the entire generation as a whole.
There's enough millennial energy coming from the Gen side. There's no doubt about that. So no, I am Seth Lejeune. I am the leader of the Seth Lejeune Group, soon to be renamed. We're still hashing out a new name. But we have a team of 8 agents outside the Philadelphia area. And we love working with millennials. We like overcoming the challenges that this generation faces. But we are a full service real estate company and team powered by RE/MAX.
Powered by RE/MAX. RE/MAX strong.
RE/MAX strong. There's a balloon. We got the balloons and the clouds and all that good stuff.
So what got you into real estate then?
Real estate came naturally. My family's been in real estate forever. I was involved with a major real estate development project outside of Philadelphia, learned the whole construction trade, had to manage crews, and did all that. And eventually I just got to a point where I needed to find something that I was able to do while raising a family, take care of my family. And I actually just really like helping people. It sounds cliche and corny, but that's really a passion project for me. And it has allowed me to grow my business very quickly because I feel like I take very good care of my clients, and everybody on the team has to do the same thing. That's like kind of the philosophy. And what's the hashtag we've got?
No hackassery.
No hackassery, Jen. No hackassery.
Absolutely never.
No. So we bring a high level of confidence to this business, and that's why I got into it. I saw a lot of my friends during the Great Recession get washed out with real estate. I luckily didn't buy anything until 2010, but even in 2010, like my wife and I, we didn't make like any money on our house once we sold it, even 6-7 years later. So
I'm not even going to go into what I was doing in 2010.
Yeah. So
college.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's really who I am. But love real estate, love working with clients, and again, we just decided to make a podcast and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah. And then over here on this side, you got the real millennial, right in the heart, the elder millennial from 1991, Jennifer Anusky. Calm
down. That's all right.
Told you I had enough personality to make up for the two of us.
That's right.
I'm living in the thick of the millennial shit. So, we're part of that age where we had internet, we also don't, or where we grew up with internet, but then we also didn't have it.
Didn't you ask me if I had a screen name?
I did ask you if you had a screen name. You say that you did, but
I had a screen name.
I don't know, man. Were you talking to Smarter Child when you were bored at home on your computer? All right, then.
I was on AOL when you were like 3 years old, and I had a screen name.
I don't know about that.
It was like mid 90s AOL.
Agree, disagree.
Okay.
But yeah, so
this is our dynamic, by the way.
Get used to it.
Yeah. It's going to get testy, fake testy. I don't know if we've ever like truly been mad at each other, but we certainly give each other a raft of shit every once in a while.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. If it made me think about it long enough, I could probably make something up in my head, and make it into a bigger deal.
All right, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, you did. So I got into real estate because I really always wanted to do this. Especially, I think I had my come to Jesus moment at in probably 2018, 2019. Actually, I was in New Orleans, and my cousin wanted to go to a tarot card reader. I said, it's your birthday, why not? And I had already decided before we went, it was probably within months before then, that I was like, I'm going to do real estate at some point. I'm going to. I really, really want to. Logistically, I'm an only parent of a then 2-year-old. And it just actually was younger than that. So I was an only parent of a small child. And I couldn't logistically figure out how I could manage to have a career that wasn't a bi-weekly paycheck. And then I had a tarot card reader tell me that I'm going to be starting a new business and that it was going to flourish. And I said, nobody knows that I was even thinking about that. So that was interesting. And that's what made me go.
You've never told me that story.
Really?
I don't think you've ever told me. So the only reason you're sitting here is a tarot card reader?
No, it's not. But it was also just it was at that timing of I'm going to do it. And it was that reinforcement of, she said, you are going to take a new business venture and it's going to be successful and you're going to do well. So do it. And I was like, okay, cuckoo.
Yeah.
Crazy. But I was also like,
voodoo New Orleans lady.
Yeah. I played a poker face, but she was dead on. I was like, oh, how did you know that? Nobody knows that. I haven't told a single soul about it. So that was interesting. But yeah. And then, my hand, so it's something I always wanted to do. Yeah. But like I said, I couldn't really figure out how I could do that with my current situation in my life. And then my hand was forced a few years ago, and it was you either keep going in this retail direction or you take the opportunity, just go do it. So I said, let's do it. And I just took a leap of faith, just kind of blind trust, and went all in on it.
Yep.
Spent 3 months studying, got my exams done, passed well, overthought it, was working with you the entire time. And here I am, getting awards on my first full year for my...
And Jen is the top agent on the team.
Oh, am I still?
You are still. Silent ninjas on your trail, though.
Yeah, but listen, I was humbly said, I will gladly take second place to her. She's freaking incredible.
Yeah, so
I'll let Silent Ninja.
Just so you guys know, Silent Ninja is a nickname we have for another agent on our team, Julie. So she is not like
She'll
Jen.
Be here someday.
She's not like Jen.
In the best way.
In the best ways possible. She is quiet and very, very silent and humble.
Deadly.
So, and deadly.
So then that leads me into here. I just kind of much like everything else in my life, I knew what I wanted and where I wanted to go. I didn't know how to get there, but I just trusted that if I did what was necessary and just trusted the process, that it would come to fruition. And here we are. And it did. Hence the conversation we had at the beginning of 2023 saying, I want to do a podcast. And you said, same. I said, let's go do it.
That's right.
And we did it.
I had it's funny. I had the idea for this podcast written down late last year, and it was part of a media rollout I wanted to do. And I wanted to do it around October of this year. And it all ended up working out. Now we've
manifest that shit.
Yeah. Listen, I'm a big believer in that. I mean, I'm a big believer in writing things down, setting goals. And it's funny how the universe, I didn't need a tarot card reader to know that I wanted to do this. But I remember you had like a hair appointment or something, and you said, you talked to somebody and you said someone had the best idea, a podcast. And I said, well, that
I was probably in the shower having some of my best thoughts.
No, somebody suggested it to you.
I could literally come to the solution for world peace in the shower.
Yeah, no, but somebody suggested it to you, and I said, funny you should mention it because it's part of my media plan. Let's talk about it. And that's what we did.
Because I ran the idea by somebody else, and I said, we should make a podcast, and she and another friend we're not really feeling it and not into it. And I said, okay, but I still want to do it. If you don't know me, and if you do, you'll know that if I have an idea in my head, it needs to happen.
Yes.
There's no telling me no.
Yes.
It's gonna happen.
That's right.
One way or another.
There's a Jen Anusky size hole in the wall, of the things that she wants to do. So
Anusky gets it done, no matter what.
That's
no
right.
matter the obstacle. That goes for even things that are a little physically challenging.
That's right. So your tagline is
Anusky gets it done, no problems, just solutions.
And mine is ask Seth anything. So I bring a very, very deep educational.
Don't ask him to detangle cords and actually set something up with any kind of non-chaos, though.
Yeah, well, that's your department because you were such a chord wizard from your community theater days, right?
It was Tech Crew, and shout out Mr. Crane, Jim Crane. Sorry.
But I bring a very deep educational background to this. I love knowing how things work. I don't like. I do not like going like into appointments or talking to people about things I don't understand. So if I don't understand, I'll admit it. But that was one of the rocks and the bedrocks of my business was that I was like, I'm going to know exactly what I'm doing. And I remember sitting, it was my first year and I was negotiating a contract. And this agent just was running circles around me, man, on the details of the agreement of sale. And I turned to my wife. I got off the phone. And I turned to my wife. I said, "Man, when I can tell you all these docs and I know exactly what's going on, I was like, I'm gonna lay waste to these fucking people, man." I was like, I was so mad because this guy was really good, and I was still learning in my first year, and now it's like, yeah. So I bring that approach to everything. And that's what I bring. I bring that approach to all you guys. Is I want you guys all to know how to do that stuff.
Yeah, no, so there's no winging it in the real time. These people's lives that are at stake, and
that's right.
Something to be taken real seriously.
That's absolutely right. So yeah, we're talking about buying homes, not even buying a car is not as serious as buying a home. You can always swap out your car.
You can technically swap out your house too. It just takes it's a whole lot more involved.
That's right. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about why we're making the podcast and who is supposed to be listening to it.
Okay, yeah. So I think we've already kind of gone into the fact that we do this for people.
Yep.
I mean, something I didn't mention was about me. It's the reason why I did anything is because I like helping people in retail management. It was impacting lives of people walking through the door and selling jeans. But there are times when people are crying because they've never felt so good or they've just been so discouraged, and it just makes a bigger impact in people's lives. And even the employees, the hundreds of employees under me, that's what they're doing. I want to be able to give an impact to them in their lives with just their first retail job or whatever. But I knew that there was still more to be. There's bigger things, bigger impacts to make. And I wanted to do that through real estate because this is the biggest financial thing you're going to do in your life.
Yep.
Maybe, hopefully, I don't know. And that there just needs to be somebody who's advocating for people on that such a large scale. That I really wanted that responsibility.
Sure.
So we want to make this podcast so that we can actually give that information to people. The amount of conversations that I'm even having with just friends or even clients or just random people I'm talking to, because I'll literally talk to anybody who's around me. It might be annoying. I don't know. But I just keep hearing I can't buy a house. There's no way. And I'm well, why? And they're I don't have that amount of money. I'm well, how much do you think you need? And I'm hearing stuff like, well, I have to put down 20%. I can't get that. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, to me, where I'm laughing, like, what are you talking about? Like, no, you don't. Like, it's so, like, second nature to me. Like, because I know, obviously, you only need, like, 3% to...
Yeah, we see it every day.
Or 0%, whatever. That's going to be a different podcast entirely. But, like, it's the lack of information, the wrong information, the spin that people are putting on this. Like, you know, there's just a lot that needs to be told. I feel like I'm having the same conversations over and over and over again to different people, but on the same thing. And it's like, why not just broadcast that out to... So if this many people are saying this to me, then there's a lot more people who are also believing it. So we might as well hit the biggest amount of audience and share the wealth of information that we have that they're not being told.
That's right. And I did research on this, and I can't find a resource. I can't find a resource or anybody who's talking about this with millennials or millennials having
MillenniUP.
Yeah, welcome to MillenniUP. Millennial, like, trying to guide people. We do it one at a time with our clients, and yes, we have conversations with people on the sidelines of soccer fields and with our kids and all that stuff. But I can't find anybody who's actually specifically talking about this problem, and it is a problem. It's a problem for. I know that millennials just roll their eyes when boomers say, oh, interest rates were 15% or 17%, 19%. It's like, yeah, that's not the same thing. And that's,
don't want to hear it.
And again, that is another podcast, and we're going to unpack. That's going to be one we're going to do soon, because that's
and anybody who even tries to use that as a, like, even if it is like a millennial agent or Gen X agent, whatever, anybody who tries to say that as like an overcoming any like obstacle with interest rates, I want to punch them in the face.
Well, it's like, it's
nobody cares what Karen bought their house for and what their interest rate was in friggin' like 1982.
Yeah. Well, it's not, I would say it's disingenuous, but it's not, because I don't, disingenuous to mean that they were intentionally lying about it. I just don't think people get it. I think people are just, I think you meld two things. One is a lack of understanding about economics, and the other is that whole like generational bootstrappy, I went to school, I hiked to school like in 12 feet of snow, both ways and all that shit. Yeah. And that's just like generational shit talk that's happened since the beginning of time. It's like these kids these days, they don't know how good they have it. And, they got this and that. And we worked.
They want everything in it to them.
We milked the cows at 5 a.m. and blah, 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 when they lived in the city after all,
Meanwhile, we're getting burnt at both ends, just trying to survive out here. And, and we're just here to tell you that it's still possible.
It's definitely possible. There's going to be over 4.5 million home sales in this country this year. There are tons of people out there who are doing this that we're going to talk about on this podcast, which is, how do you get into a house? How do you figure out how to sell your house when you got 2 kids, 2 dogs, and 2 full-time working parents and no time to organize your house or clean it or whatever? And that's like, bringing in the people that you need and kind of talking people through the process, even if they're way off from buying a house, talking them through the process of how to do this is more important than ever. And like I said, I couldn't find anybody who was really talking about this like at scale.
And the other question I was getting a lot too was like, we announced like, hey, surprise, we're making a podcast. And it was like, wow, cool. And then as I was like, just talking to some people, they're like, so like, it's cool you're doing your real estate podcast. Is you're doing your real estate podcast for other real estate people? Like, I was like, oh, nope. I'm like, no. I mean, they can listen to it, sure. But like, this isn't for just the real estate market. It's for the people who are listening who like want to buy a house or want to sell their house or don't think they can buy a house or, might not even be thinking about like real estate, but want to be able to let them think about it.
Yeah, I think,
feel hopeful and that it's possible. It's for you. It's for the general public of, generally speaking, millennials, because that's who is in this right now.
And that's right. And eventually, and one day it'll be Gen Zers. Gen Zers will find themselves in the same, unless something radically changes in the economy. Gen Zers are going to be right behind, and maybe we'll have some of our Gen Z agents make that podcast. But for now, we're going to focus on millennials. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that this is also for those people who are like afraid to ask the question, like, because they don't want to seem like a dumbass.
Or like you don't know what you don't know too.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of people out there who, like, when I talk to like new clients, they're like, hey, can I ask you like a really dumb question? I always just say, there are no dumb questions. You are not
just dumb people.
You are not like a professional home buyer. Like, you have a life outside of this, and like, you're not supposed to know all this stuff. I think that's who this podcast is for too, is it's kind of like a question safe space here. Like, you have questions for us, and you can always DM us, questions that you have on the side, and we're going to be asking for feedback from people. We're going to be taking some polls, giving out some results of some polls.
Well, yeah, because this whole podcast, like I said, the purpose of us even doing this was to address the things that people are asking us. Like, so keep asking us.
Yes.
So we can address it. It's literally like, we want it to be an interactive space where we are actually like tackling things, the shit people care about, not like, we're not going to be drowning on about, and this week in the market, where the interest rates went to blah, 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 and Fannie and Freddie Mac.
And that's what this means. Yeah. It's like the Fed raised rates, blah, blah, blah. It's, if you need that information, we're happy to give it to you, but we're not going to be talking about a whole lot of that on this podcast.
Smash that dislike button if we start.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we're going to try to bring you just the red meat, and we're going to try to bring you stuff that is relevant.
I'm going to cook this podcast medium rare.
That's right. And we promise you to never be salesy or try to, sell your products. And, there's a lot of real estate podcasts. I am like a podcast fiend. I listen to a ton. And I don't know about you, but I always like skip through I hit that plus 30 seconds. I'm like, please, for the love of God, like, I came here not to be sold. That's not our goal here. Our goal here is to just provide good information. You can listen to it at your own leisure. But leisure. Well, leisure.
Is that a Gen X thing?
No, it's not. Not everything is about boiling shit out into generations. It's not always about. That's such a boomer thing to say. So I know boomer in the last 5 years has become a derogatory term, and anyone who's not a millennial gets called a fucking boomer. But
no, because guess what? If we're going to talk about derogatory terms real quick, this one's off script, but the amount of times I've actually seen you put something up on Facebook about this, about people's generations, and do you identify with them or whatever? Yeah. There were a whole lot of things in your comments that were of millennials saying that millennial is a derogatory term lately.
And I explained why.
And well, hold on. I don't even know if I saw that part. But, and like, to speak on that as the prime millennial here, like, it's kind of right. Like, people are like, look down like, ugh, millennials. But like, really? Because we're going to be the ones that are like freaking saving this country here, and the ones that are like, we saw both ends of the world, and it really shouldn't. I don't know why we are such a derogatory term, but we're actually the smartest.
I have a theory. Actually, our very own Diane Worth on the team told me that I was wrong, but I'm
happy to do the same. What's your theory?
I don't think I'm wrong.
Of course you do.
Yeah, that's very rare. I think I'm wrong, Jen. So the reason that millennials have have a negative connotation is because the people writing the articles, the people who are sitting behind the news desks, the media, social media, the influencers, for the most part, in the last 15 years have been Gen X and boomers. And like I said, greatest American pastime ever is a generation shitting down on the other ones. And it just so happens that with social media and the internet, there's just been a big microphone in front of in front of boomers and and Gen Xers who've just been able to the easiest article to write ever was like, millennials don't work. They're lazy. This whole country's going to hell in a handbasket. And
so what did you guys do to help support us to be able to even do these things? Meanwhile,
first
we're
off,
busting our ass.
Don't say you guys, because I'm technically Gen X.
Don't worry, I'm looking more at boomers.
Yeah.
Listen, I got some Gen X friends. I love them to death. Love y'all. But no, I just mean our parents are not the Gen Xers. Let's put that out there. But like, no, you're right. I don't disagree with that. And yes, those are the voices that were heard, but they gonna find out real quick that the next voices that are going to be heard are ours. And we are working. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to literally survive or function at all.
The other side of that too is that boomers and Gen X are still occupy most of the management positions in this country. They are of the age of 42, 43 and plus, generally hold more management positions across all the industry. So they're the ones who are talking about millennial. Oh, these kids these days, they don't work hard. Oh, in my day, I did this, and I would stay until 9 o'clock every night and get that work done. And guess what? Millennials are going to do the same thing onto Zers and Alphas.
So, well, here's my take on that then.
Guaranteed.
No, okay, listen.
The silent generation did it to the boomers, and the
we're doing it to Gen Z
and the greatest
too.
generation did it to boomers and Xers.
Okay, that's fine. But on that, to that point though, if you're saying like, oh, we worked so hard, we were up until yada yada yada, but like the thing is, so are we, except we have to work as hard as they did, but we're not getting the same result because we don't, because like they worked that hard, they made all that money, they could get more for all that work and effort. Meanwhile, we put out the same amount of work and effort to get just like a baseline and like the bare minimum.
I am explaining the dynamic and why millennials are as a negative connotation. I'm not defending it. I'm not, it would be hard for me to sit here and defend it all. And then I'm going to sit here and ask these people to listen to podcasts about why millennials. Yeah, like and subscribe. Yeah, like and subscribe, guys. No, I'm explaining how that works and why that is. And you can put
like
you can put an egg timer to it. Millennials, when they are in their 50s, they are going to shit all over Zers, Alphas, and then
you know what?
Betas.
Well, then in that case, then maybe we need to stop taking a shit on the generations under us. Are the ones under us kind of a little floofy? Listen, I'll reserve my judgment, but I think that this generation...
has it already started?
No,
it has. It sounds like it's starting already.
Back up, rewind. Don't even rewind. How about pause, listen? But, maybe we should stop doing what the generations before us did and actually are they a little weird? They're kind of weird. They're weird. Back in my day, we're making up dances that are like silly and goofy in our parents' dining room. These kids are like doing full on choreography and are all over the internet. But times change, as they always do. They never stopped changing. They just changed to something different. Sure. And if anything, we as millennials need to also do the same. We need to understand okay, yeah, things just changed. Let's adapt. Be the Bill Nye the Science Guy of the worlds who everything is constantly changing and, adapt, see the good in it. And that goes straight into real estate. Things are always changing. We need to adapt, overcome, and find the solutions to the things that are coming up and help other people get there. Generation by generation, person by person,
Well, and you're absolutely right. So the things that have changed, what a boomer buying conditions had to buy in, and Xers, Xers, millennials have it really tough, but Xers got absolutely walloped by the Great Recession. And so every generation has their own challenges, but we're here now. And this podcast is about millennials because they're next. They're the ones that have to start.
We're here. Coming.
And
we're doing it.
Yeah. And a lot of millennials have already bought a house, and now they have to figure out how to sell one and buy one at the same time. So that's what this podcast is about. I'm excited. I don't know how excited you are. Are you excited?
Oh, it's fine.
It's blasé. You haven't only been talking about this podcast for
literally the entire year.
Yeah, 6 months. Yeah.
And to just add to, just to kind of end it on, I guess, this note, if this is going to be ending it, but there's just what we didn't touch on is there's so much out there that is so negatively driven because, people can so easily talk about how when you're bonding with somebody, you talk about the things that you both hate and the both things you don't like, or, people are just naturally more inclined to leave reviews or speak to a manager or whatever. Karen. I'm sorry to all the Karens.
Yeah, I don't know what you got against Karen.
Listen, my best friend's mom's name is Karen, and she's the sweetest person on the planet. Love you, Karen.
I don't think that's going to be.
I've name dropped 5 times in this podcast, but anyway, people are more inclined to write the reviews and speak to the managers when they have something bad happen to them, or they have something negative to say, or want to talk about their horrible experience. But they get an exceptional experience and so wonderful. News travels more to a bad experience than a good one.
Yeah, well, they say a bad news or a lie travels around the world before good news has its time to put its shoes on in the morning.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's so in news it's called bleeds, it leads. It's just human nature. Negativity is a stronger emotion than positivity, and in media, it is easier to put on that Yahoo news feed or that Google news feed. Millennials are screwed. They can't buy a house. There's no way, rather than, hey, millennials can buy a house. Here's how. It's an easier article to write. And it's all about just clicks. So this podcast is about doing the hard work, putting in the paces and giving you the red meat and giving you guys the tools And what is it? What's your like kind of tagline? You're like the tools,
resources, and something to get you to where you want to go.
That's right.
I don't know. Look at the podcast description. It's in there. I wrote it in there.
It's
somewhere.
in there. We forget.
You'll also find that it starts with, "Hey, we're screwed," but that was to get you here. Did it work? But yeah, and it's like, we're also not going to just like shut down the fact, the reality of life and the situation we're handed.
Yeah, we're not going to it's not going to be rosy glow over here, but
and we're also not like two agents that are not also in the middle of it. I mean, like I said, I am the millennial. I am like the target demographic of like who's facing the real challenges, and I can personally tell you firsthand, like, it's possible. I see it, and like we are seeing people in the market and that we're working with that are able to make it work, who never thought that they could.
That's right.
Because they weren't given the information. Like we said earlier, just bring it back. It's all a matter of like, instead of just chipping away one person at a time, one by one, like we need more people. Everyone needs to know all of this stuff.
Yeah. And, I'll leave it at this. Like, this podcast isn't going to be about bullshitting you, trying to, get you to call and then, false promises. This is all about just good information. And the thing that's nice is that this is a total extension of how we do business anyway. So this should come pretty naturally to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's no hackassery.
This is kind of like what it's like working with us on a regular basis anyway.
It is. Like these conversations and this kind of like frank talk is exactly how we engage our clients.
Gone are the days of the stiff real estate agent, like binder in hand, buttoned up suit and tie and
tag.
Pressed dress.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're into that, like, cool. I mean, I can be, but I'd rather make this fun.
Yep. Yep. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm excited. Okay. Sounds good, guys.
So what you need to do next, like and subscribe, baby. So if you ever want to talk about anything with either of us, you'll hear where you can find us. Anusky Gets It Done. Ask Seth anything. But honestly, like, subscribe to this. We're going to be putting out episodes every week.
Yep.
We would love to get the feedback. We want to hear things. If you got some hot take, bring it. We'll take it.
That's right. And I want to do episodes where we're like really responding to like Q&A. I want and I agree with Jen. Let's make this as interactive as possible. I want to hear from you.
Tell us we're wrong.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We love that. Yeah. That's fine. and then the rest of our team will just laugh at us. So
that's fine.
That's okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right.
See ya.
So tune in next time.
Later.
Bye.